Hello everyone, this is Denise Love, and I decided today to do the other side of this layout where we did the green stenciling. So I'm just getting some wax paper stuck in between there because, you know, we get the bleed through on the other side, and I want to do something different on this one than I've done on some of the others. On some of the others I've painted something kind of cool. On this one, thinking abstract piece here and maybe one of my cyanotypes over here, because in the photography times that I did different workshops and stuff, I got very fascinated with alternative types of photography and working with different lenses and all kinds of fun, creative ways to push the envelope with your photography. And the cyanotypes and the lumens, these are lumens, and Van Dyke printing. These are all things that you put chemical onto your paper, or you get an old photo paper and you put plants and things mushed between glass, or chemical on the paper with plants and mushed between glass, and you set those in the sun to develop. And I got obsessed with these fern looking things, so I did plenty of them, and I added some art spritzed color on these. I think that was some colored walnut inks that were really beautiful. But these just kind of live in my drawer, and I have probably 100 of them because, you know, when I get into something I want 100 of them, not just 2 of them. So I was doing cyanotypes for a few months, and this one is really beautiful. I brought some smaller ones in because I thought they might have been a better size for this sheet, but I can see now that sheet's so large that this big one should be the way I go. And so I'm thinking of gluing this down on this side, just like the pieces that we created and glued down on some other pieces. And I think I'm going to decal the edges and then do an abstract on this side. And I just pulled out, I'm using my little pots of furniture paint. Somebody was like, furniture paint? Why are you using furniture paint? And I'm just going to say, because I want to. I like the colors. I'm not trying to sell this to anybody. And, you know, people make art out of trash. So why not little pots of mineral paint? So anyway, I've picked out some colors here in these little fusion mineral paints. I've got Llama White, I've got Seaside, Heirloom, Little Whale, and Chesler, because they're all in kind of that yummy bluish. There's even almost a green in here that I can see, so I could even pull out maybe a green, because I can see that right in here. So yeah, let's do that. And that is Bayberry. And so I feel a yummy abstract coming with these colors. And I do want to glue this one down and let it be doing its thing. But I also want to decal the edges. So let's get our rip ruler. This is my dual edge ripper. I love it. Love it. You can do this with like a metal ruler too, if you've got, you know, something like one of these rulers like this. You know, you could do the same thing. It's going to be a little different in the tear, but you basically get enough space and just tear it towards the ruler, just like I'm doing it with the deckled edge ruler. This is the dual edge ripper. But the reason why I like the dual edge ripper is because it's a little more uniform and at the same time still very like torn, but it's a pretty torn. And I like that. And I don't want to tear it all off. And then once I tear it off and it's actually dry, once we glue it down and it's dry, you see, you just kind of tear towards the ruler. About that much is, look how pretty that strip is. Whoa, we'll save the strip. Might not use it on that page, but that's a good leftover piece. Once you glue it down, I think I'm going to then cut the edges like we've done before, because I do like it when it's more of a just a flap in here rather than a whole page. I like that look. So I feel like that's what I'm going to do. Other people are like, don't cut it. But I'm like, well, you cannot cut it in your book. I'm going to cut it in my book. Okay, so not as good on this side as I was on the first side. Hello. But you can see it still looks good, so that is just fine. And this is on a nice heavy duty paper. It's probably on the Hannah Mall cotton rag. So it feels like that nice watercolor paper. And look how beautiful that is with the deckled edges. Now it looks like a gorgeous piece of art, and you can see how pretty that is. And so I'm just gonna have to judge on the other side where I can kind of cut that down a little bit. And I don't even mind if there's green bits showing through. That does not bother me, actually. Okay, so I'm going to use the Yes paste. It's my favorite paste for gluing down things. That are a heavyweight paper. Could have done it at the end, but I kind of want it to be attached and be drying while I'm painting. But at the end, then I could have closed the book up. So if I've got an edge that's still lifted at the end, when I go to close the book, I'll put a little glue under there. I was dreaming about this last night. I was thinking, ooh, I want to use my Cyanotypes in my book, because these just live in a drawer. I've got just a gigantic stack of them, literally. And I'm like, this is where one of those really lovely prints can live and have a new life as part of this art book. So then I got excited, and then I was thinking about it again when I got up. I love it when I have an idea that I think about, and I'm like, ooh, can't wait to go up there and make this one happen. All right, there we go. And I've got that deli paper there on the other side. I'm just going to throw that in water so that the glue doesn't dry. And let's just go ahead and glue it down. I kind of want to glue it down where it's even. So is it even? Let's see. I think we're pretty even. And I need something heavy to sit over here. So I've got a great big heavy thing of pencils. There we go. That is perfect. So whether it's even or not, it's committed now, and we're going to let this thing of Faber-Castell polychromas hold it down while we paint over here. And look how pretty the scraps are. These are so pretty. We could glue them down to something that we're doing collage things too, because they're pretty little bits. So I'm going to throw these down in my paper bin and just keep those because they're really pretty. And then, all right, doesn't seem that I'm going to get that one open. Seems like I need my jar opener up here. I've got a jar opener that you use in the kitchen for opening stuff. I need to bring it. Oh, these colors are so pretty. I can't even stand it. They're so pretty. Ah! Yeah, if you have trouble getting jars and stuff open, I like the jar openers that you have in your kitchen. Oh, there we go. Must have loosened up for getting some of these out. And I'm just going to use our bowl scraper, maybe my little Filbert number 8 Princeton Umbria Filbert brush. This is it's an oil brush or an acrylic brush. It's a little stiffer than a watercolor brush, but it is really good for just all over something. So I'm kind of thinking let's do this super dark one over here in the corners. I might want some gesso out, but we'll do it without the gesso today and just see. I like the way the gesso makes the paint start to blend and do other stuff. But I don't need it because this paint is matte already and it's mineral paint, so I will be able to draw on top of it without a problem already. So I just got to the edge and thought, let's just protect the edges of the page under it with some butcher paper. This is just that dry wax paper that you get out of your kitchen. And I think I've mentioned this a couple times now, but I'll mention it a little bit here too. I generally tend, when I'm doing stuff like this, I tend to start in the corners and work my way towards the insides, kind of. And I do that just because that's my own preference, and it kind of already sets me up for a good composition when I'm already kind of coming in from the edges and not coming from the center trying to build something. So just my own personal preference. Thought I'd mention it again, even though I've mentioned it yesterday maybe, or whatever video I might have done recently. I've said it, but I thought I'd say it again in case not everybody's seen all those. Look at these colors. Oh my gosh. And I'm using my little bowl spreader because I like it. I like the way it smooths out brush lines. I like the way it just kind of moves things and creates other patterns and shapes and designs. I just like it. It's my silicone bowl scraper, and I've had it for years, using it with oil and coal wax, but I've just started getting obsessed again with it, with these large abstracts in this book. And now I'm just so excited to do large abstracts again. I just go in and out of what I want to create, depending on what is grabbing me. And now big abstracts are grabbing me because of this yummy art journal. This was the perfect gateway for moving bigger. So if you're like, how do I go bigger? Do a big art journal, and it's kind of in between little and big because it's a medium kind of format. But it's great for getting you past how do I go bigger without stressing too hard, because then again it's an art journal. So you can be encouraged to play in this and not get super overly stressed with it, because most people treat the art journal as a way to experiment and play. Look at that. Ooh, so pretty. Let's grab some of this gray because we haven't grabbed it yet. And if you like doing everything with a paintbrush, then do that. I've just decided I love this thing right now, and that's what I'm doing. Look at that. So pretty, so pretty. Now we could do some shapes. Maybe I want some, do I want to do it with this brush? I mean, I've already got paint on this brush, but maybe some shapes in here today. Oh my gosh, you guys, look at this. Do you know what these look like? They look like little Pac-Mans and the little ghosts that are running around the Pac-Man game. How many of you played that Pac-Man game? And you're like, oh my gosh, it does look like little Pac-Man ghost. Now I feel like, do I need a Pac-Man in here somewhere? And this will be my Pac-Man piece. Oh, isn't that hilarious? The ways that our brain works as we are moving around. Look, it's a little blue ghost. It's a little Filbert Umbria Pac-Man ghost. Look at that. Oh, I like that. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. All right, let's throw that in the water. I'm kind of thinking, what else am I thinking? Thinking I need some mark making. I need this to dry a little bit, but I am going to grab one of my pencils over here. Maybe do some of my graphite mark making. And again, if you'll hold this pencil like way out to the back, your lines will be way more interesting and organic and less controlled than if you're holding that pencil way up towards the front. I like to mention that because some people say they have such a hard time letting loose that that might be why. Hold your materials much further back and then see how hard it is to control. Like you're making yourself do something that you wouldn't normally be able to do. You know what else I was thinking? I was thinking we could put some gold details over here on the Cyanotype. Whoa, I totally forgot I was thinking that. Okay, thinking white Posca pen let's just get this started on a little piece of paper. Got it. Kind of thinking we could do some dots or we could do some lines, but I am feeling like maybe some little dots. Feels kind of cold, but it wasn't actually wet. Let's get our hand rest here. Give myself a place to put my hand. All right, I like that. And I could just see, do I want any other details in here? I could continue to add things. I could have like a more of an organic-y, let me get that wet. And I've just grabbed a random brush. This is a 1/2" Rosemary and Company Comber brush. But what if we took a little bit of this gray and did some type of mark making, a little bit like we did with that pencil. Okay, I don't know. I don't want to ruin it, but just commit. Oh, look at that. Just is what it is. Just commit. Just put that brush down if you're like having trouble deciding, and just do it. Okay, and then hold the brush way back to the back while you're doing it, and then you'll get something less perfect and a little bit looser. And I actually like the way that did, so I'm glad I did that. And then I don't want anything else. I'm kind of feeling like that's looking pretty darn good. I feel like we got there. So let's see how good we got this stuck down. Now that we've had that sitting pretty good. Oh, that's pretty good. And at this point, I could come back in here and just start adding some gold details, or maybe just some gold dots. Just because, but there's a lot going on with these. These are wet cyanotypes, and so you have all these yummy little bubble details of this. Okay, so real quick, I don't think I used the green at all. Do we want to put some green over here? Shoot, I left the green out. Shoot, maybe I do. Let's grab a little round brush. This is a Princeton number 8 round. Or I could just do some dots. Oh yes, like some green dots. Let's do that. Because now I'm sad I left the green out. Now that we've got all this green in here, I'm gonna hold my hand down to make sure that glue is not letting up. It's not really a dot, it's more of a teardrop. But it's kind of fun having a teardrop. I mean, teardrops are not a shape I've done a bunch of. Okay, I do like that. Let's put some of those over here. Okay, they're a little larger over here because I'm apparently a little more angled. And I'm not looking for perfection when I do something like this. So if they're all the same shape, I'm not concerned about it. Like, just go with the yummy imperfection of your piece. Ooh, let's do a few of these. Well, I kind of like it right there. Let's do a few up here. Ooh, I like that. I do like it kind of doing its little thing more like that. Oh yeah, okay, I'm loving that. Good deal. Okay, that was a good choice. Let's just throw that into some water. And before I come over here to do anything, let's close our paint pots, because I'll stick my hand in them accidentally and be like, why did I do that? Every single time I'll do it. So I've got some little dots there, but that's wet cyanotypes, and you do the wet cyanotypes with soap suds. Then you put all that up underneath the piece of glass, and then you get all these yummy little bubbles, which I'll have a close-up picture at the end where you can really see that. So even though I'm putting some little dots of gold or lines, or maybe I'm following the edges of the leaves, you're not really going to see all that until the light hits it, and then it's going to be like, oh, what is that bit of shine in there? So that's really the reason why I'm thinking just a little bit of detail on some of these, because you'll see that tiny bit of shine in the sunlight, which I think is fun. And you can get as detailed or as, let me get my stick out. You can get as detailed or as simple as you'd like. Nothing, there's no right or wrong there. It's whatever happens to inspire you at the moment you're creating. And I'm using my little Cyanotypes Zig liner, which has got that same brilliance as our Cyanotypes Gold Mica ink. I'm like, this is genius. I mean, if they'd had this pen available a year ago when I got that yummy ink and dip pen that I absolutely love, which I could certainly get out and play in this book, I probably never would have got the dip pen, because I would have been obsessed with the little $4 pen. So I'm like, why did you wait a year to come out? And these are you can only get them on the Sketchbox site. They make deals with Cyanotypes to bring things over here that aren't available over here. So these may be in Japan, but they're not necessarily over here yet. And then a year after they introduce it, they magically show up on Amazon. So that's kind of nice that hopefully they'll show up and we'll be able to still get these as our pens run out. Oh, I just love these little tiny bits of shine. And it's just another way to add a personalized touch to your different pages, especially if you're doing something like a cyanotype onto your art journal, which not everybody's going to have those, but if it's something that looks interesting, it really is super fun to create these. You basically coat the paper in chemical, lay your plant down on the paper. I clamp them together with some little tiny clamps and in between two pieces of plexiglass, and then you lay those out in the sun for however long you're supposed to do it. Depends on what you're doing and where you live, where the sun is, what time of the year, but you know, you might lay them out for 30 minutes to an hour and then go rinse them off and see what you got. Man, these were so much fun. I did like 100 literally, because I made a cyanotype workshop. So if you're interested in the workshop, you can visit my site. This is a workshop I created. And so when I'm making workshops, I like to make hundreds of whatever it is I'm doing. And then you really learn it good. I've got all kinds of little hacks and different papers that I tried. And the workshop has the lumens in it, and it has the Van Dyke print. So it's all the different types of sun exposure type chemicals like that, but the cyanotypes are the ones that are the most fun when you add water and different chemicals like baking soda and maybe some spritz of some art supplies like walnut ink, and then soap suds. You get the most amazing effects. I love it. Look at that, just a pretty little touch of gold in there. We could be more dramatic and add some more, but I'm pretty happy with where that's at. Check it out. Check out today's page. This was such a good paint day. And I could bring gold over here if I wanted, but I like it like it is. I'm happy with that. Hope you had a good time experimenting with me today, checking out what a cyanotype is. I do feel like we need to cut this down now. So I think I'm going to do that too. Basically what I do, kind of want to see where that stencil ended. It ended about right there. I don't mind cutting the stencil though, so the stencil side. So we're just gonna cut the edge so that it's shy, which I'd already planned on doing when I tore that edge yesterday. That was doing that. I just want it to be short of the page right here. Doesn't have to be perfect. I just want it to be short of that page. And then we'll get real tight in here and trim that. And then we can fray the edge. And then that's super cool. So then we can fray this little edge some. And I'm sure throughout the life of the journal it'll fray some more. But I just love the little frayed edge on it. There we go. You might not like that, just my own personal preference. Look at that. Look at that, people. Look at that. Oh my gosh, look how great this is. Let's just cut that one right there. Okay. Oh, look at that. Now we have the outline of the crazy green. And we can flip it, and I didn't cut any of the stencil. I don't even know how I managed that, but that's amazing. And now we have an interior flapped page. I love that. So I think I'm going to let this dry a little bit more just underneath my pencil case there. But today was a good paint day. This is what I was dreaming of when I went to bed, and when I got up this morning, I'm like, okay, I've got my page for today. Oh, look at that. Oh, so much fun. Hope you had a good time painting with me today, and I'll see you next time.